Happy day. This is Shobhana, Assistant Professor, BBA Department. Today I am going to take the topic groups in organizational behavior. So let us see about the topic. So in this video we are going to see about what is the basic meaning of groups, why people try to associate themselves with a group, what are the advantages that the organization gets by making people work in the groups, what are the merits, demerits, and how is the decisions being made in the group, and how does it help in the productivity of the organization. So let us see one by one. So first, to understand what group means, it is basically a cluster of people who come together in order to pursue their common interest. The group size can vary depending on the task that is being allotted, depending on the goal that needs to be achieved, but the basic ideal size of any group would have 5 to 7 members. And a group is supposed to be active, and the group members are supposed to be psychologically aware of the other team members in the group, and it needs to have a constant interaction taking place. So why are groups formed? Why do people try to associate themselves with a group? So the first basic reason would be nearness and interaction. They want to constantly interact with each other, exchange their ideas, try to understand others' perspective, and try to gain more knowledge and expertise. That is the basic reason why anyone would like to associate themselves with a group. But apart from this, whenever people want to feel emotionally secured, whenever they want to gain power, gain recognition, all those reasons people also join the groups. So there are two basic types of groups. One is the formal group and the other one is the informal group. Formal group is basically formed by the organization where people from several departments are being selected, they form the group leaders are being nominated, and they work towards achieving that final goal for the organizational purpose. But informal group is the one which is being formed by the members who find someone very interesting or who find someone having similar common interest, which also can be outside the context of the organization. So the organization doesn't have any control over this kind of informal groups that's being formed. And committee would be one classic example for the concept of formal groups. Next, we are going to see about the different stages of the group development. There are 5 basic stages. They are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. First stage is the forming stage, where all the group members come together and they get aware of each others in the group, and the basic ground rules are being established in this forming stage. Next is the norming stage, where some kind of hostility is being developed by the group members with their group leaders. So they have to overcome this hostility and then they have to start performing. The third stage is norming stage, where people actually start working and they associate close relationship with the other team members. Fourth is the performing stage, where the work is actually getting done. Finally, we have the adjourning stage, where the task is being achieved and therefore the group members disperse and the groups are being dissolved. There are certain do's and don'ts of the group. We call it as group norms. So this tells what is the kind of behavior that is expected from the group team members, and on what basis is this behavior being assessed by the team leaders. And this group norms applies to everyone, whether it be the group members or whether it be the group leaders. Next, we are going to see about the group cohesiveness. This talks about the extent to which the group members are attached to the group and their willingness to remain in the group. So there are certain factors which is going to improve this group cohesiveness among the group members. First, all of them have to agree to the group goals. Only when that understanding and agreement comes, then they really start giving their commitment towards working towards those goals. And then the group has to be homogeneous, which means if there are too many differences, then it becomes difficult for them to accept to a point and come to a decision. Therefore, more homogeneous group, it means that it's going to be much more smoother in the working of the group. And the group size has to be limited. As said, 5 to 7 members of the group could be the ideal size. And whenever they compete with the opposition groups, then obviously the attachment towards the group members is much higher when compared to the rival groups. Encouraging the rivalry among the other groups will help in increasing the group cohesiveness of the present group. And finally, we have the group rewards that is going to encourage the group members more than the individual rewards that is being given. How is decision being made by the group? So decision making has a series of steps before arriving at the final solution. So the steps would be, initially they will have to first try to understand, identify what the problem is, analyze what the problem is, and then list out what could be the different possible solutions, and then evaluate each of the solution and finally arrive at a solution, implement the solution and also review the solution to see how effective it is. So, in group decision making till now we have seen only the positive points, but apart from that certain times when unanimous decisions are not taken or when certain other team members do not agree to the decision that is being taken unanimously, then sometimes certain kind of pressurization is being done with people of higher power to the people in order to influence them to accept to a decision. So, that also happens in the process of decision making, and there is certain amount of risk that is being associated when a decision is being taken by a group, and that has to be bared by all the team members. So, what is the difference between the individual decision making and the group decision making? Individually, when someone takes a decision, it is because of the virtue of their knowledge or because of the experience that they have or because of the designation they are given or the authority that they have to take the decisions. But in group decision making, you have representatives from both the management side and the workers side, and both of them together come to a conclusion and take up a decision. Now, we are going to see about the merits and the demerits of decision making. The basic advantage is, because it involves a lot of people, it also involves a lot of expertise, lot of experience comes in. So, it cannot be a biased one, and they only finally arrive at a good quality decision that is being taken. And some of the demerits could be, sometimes it can be a costly issue, sometimes when people do not agree to it, it may take a delay in order to arrive at a decision, and sometimes this kind of pressure on the people who do not accept to a decision also happens. So, all these are some of the disadvantages, and the accountability for the decision that is being taken may also not be there when it comes to the group decision making. Now, what is the relation between group cohesion and productivity? So, obviously, when the group is more cohesive, then it means that the productivity is going to be more, the efficiency is going to be more, and the kind of job satisfaction that each one have is going to be more, and therefore, the absenteeism is going to be less, the turnover is going to be less, cooperation is going to be more. So, all these factors are definitely going to work for the benefit of the group and for the benefit of the organization. And finally, we are going to see what group role means. So, it is not necessary that a person belonging to one particular group cannot belong to other groups. A person may have several designations, may have to play important roles in several groups and several committees. Therefore, we have the term called as many hats that we wear, and we have certain terminologies that is associated with it. Let us see one by one. First one is the role identity, which gives you a clarity about what kind of role has to be played, what kind of responsibility is being associated with that particular role. And then we have role ambiguity. So, this discrepancy comes because of the difference in the role perception and the actual role that is being undertaken. So, what people perceive that role will have to perform and what actually the role has to perform, that difference in expectation will give a rise to this role ambiguity. And role conflict comes because of difference in the opinion or the expectations that the subordinates or the bosses may have on a particular person on what is expected out of them. And finally, we have role expectation, which comes or which gives a clarity of what the role has to basically perform. So, today we saw about the concept of groups in organization. Hope this video was useful and you have completely understood the concept. For more such videos, please like, share and subscribe to M.O.P Classroom. Thank you.